I've had an issue with the honour system in the UK for a while. Now, in theory, it sounds great. In theory, you recognise someone who's contributed to the UK in various ways that has been a benefit to the country and to the people that live here. It sounds great. But then when you start looking at the list, you have people like Jimmy Savile on the list. Now, okay, it's all very well and good for me on my sofa saying Savile should have never got the honours system, given what we now know, but we didn't know back then. But there were prominent figureheads in the BBC who knew what he was doing. And prominent figureheads in the BBC are very pally-pally with the Conservative Party. So there are issues there. But then we also have people like Christopher Chope. Christopher Chope is, I believe he's still an active member of Parliament, though I'll correct myself down below if I'm wrong. Christopher Chope has a history of not voting for the best interests of the country. The two examples in recent years is being against the upskirt ban. He claimed that he didn't know what it was, so he couldn't vote for it, but of course he could have just done what the Lib Dems did with the NHS and abstained a vote completely, but that's not what he did. He voted against protection for women. And with FGM, female genital mutilation, he voted against the, quite frankly, laughable barriers that we have in place now on the grounds that it was sexist. I mean, if you want to have that discussion about male circumcision, that'd be an interesting one to have. But right now, the biggest problem is FGM. So that highlights some of the issues that I have. And in my opinion, having people like this on the honour lists tarnishes those who have actually done real good to the country. Ian Duncan Smith is being awarded an honour. Ian Duncan Smith, for everyone who doesn't know, is the architect of universal credits. Universal credits that have been condemned by 80 independent bodies across the country. Now, yes, Esther McVeigh took universal credits and made it a whole hell of a lot worse, and Amber Rudd carried that on, but it started with Ian Duncan Smith. It started with him. It was intentional to be the way that it is, and for those who don't know what it's like, it's shit. It doesn't help people who need help. It puts them in a far worse pit, making it so much harder to get out of. As a bit of context, you could be looking at 6 weeks to receive any kind of payment from Universal Credit System, but a new MP can get all their expenses back in a maximum of 3 weeks. Universal Credits is credited to being why poverty in this country is getting so bad, while child poverty has risen to the level it has, why homelessness has risen to the level that it has. Ian Duncan Smith should not be awarded an honour in any way, shape or form because of the attack of universal credit. But this is what's happening. He's being given an honour for his service to the country. Ian Duncan Smith's legacy is universal credit. And as I've said every time I bring universal credit up, any politician who supports it should never get your vote. They do not represent you. They do not protect the people. They only care about the wealthy. And unfortunately, the honour system this year, as previous years, is full of people just like Smith.